Hi, I'm Jennifer Janachek, the Director of Content Strategy for Sound Wisdom, and I'm here today with Shep Hyken, who is a customer service and experience expert and Chief Amazement Officer of Shepherd Presentations. He's a New York Times and Wall Street Journal best-selling author and also award-winning speaker, inducted into the National Speakers Hall of Fame for lifetime achievement in speaking. So it's quite an honor to be here with you today. Shep has a number of books, which are just fabulous for really everyone, but especially customer experience professionals, including The Cult of the Customer, Be Amazing or Go Home, The Convenience Revolution, and his latest book, I'll Be Back. How to get customers to come back again and again. And every time I say that, I throw myself because I really want to use that Terminator voice and just gets me really in the mindset, which I think is part of the fun and part of the purpose, right?
Right. Well, hey, by the way, if you're going to use the voice, you've got to put on the glasses.
Got to get the shades.
I'll be back.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. Well, this book will help you, anybody within an organization, from team members to business owners, learn how to make a business thrive during good times as well as bad by turning customers into not just repeat customers, but loyal customers. So I'm looking forward to our discussion today about customer service, customer experience, and how to leverage that to drive, business growth, which I think so many of us would love to learn about today. So thanks for being here, Shep.
Great to be here. Thanks. And I'm excited. Sound Wisdom has been a great partner with several books, and we'll keep this magic going.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Okay, so I'll launch right in here to my questions. So the first one is, according to a 2018 study that you cite in your book, it costs 5 times more to attract a new customer than to retain a current one. How can business owners and all members of an organization shift their focus, or at least a substantial portion of it, away from attracting new customers to retaining existing ones?
Well, it's all marketing. You want a customer to get through your doors. That's marketing. If it's a repeat customer, the cost of acquisition is much lower. Why? They're already a customer. So what you need to be getting into is a mindset. And everybody that interacts with the customer needs to be thinking what I call the loyalty question. And by the way, let's define loyalty. Loyalty is not about a lifetime. It's about the next time, every time. So if we just focus on the next time, just the next time, we should be able to build a relationship over a period of time that makes it appear that that customer keeps coming back and is loyal to us. I'll get to the difference between repeat customers and loyal customers if you want, but here's the question that I want everybody to think about. What am I doing right now at this very moment that's going to get the customer to come back the next time they do business with me? And it may be just a sales situation where I'm talking to them about what they're going to buy. It could be a customer support situation where they've called with a problem or a complaint. At all situations that we interact, the goal is to create a confidence that, number one, confirms that the customer chose the right company to do business with and the right people to do business with, as well as will continue to do business with them in the future.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's great. And you did mention the difference between a repeat customer and a loyal customer. If you'd like to, shed more light on the distinction there, that would definitely be helpful.
So repeat customers are gold, and I refer to them as gold, and I refer to loyal customers as sacred. And oftentimes you can't tell the difference between the two. But the difference really is emotional connection. Do I love this company enough to do business with them if they were to move a little further away, if they were to raise their prices, if the competitor came in and was a little bit more convenient, maybe they're next door, maybe a little bit closer. The goal is, am I going to do business with them regardless of that? And I'll bring it to the airline, and you can think about this yourself. If you're going to fly on an airline, oftentimes if you fly a lot, you are part of their frequent flyer program. Are you a member of any frequent flyer programs? Now I get to interview you.
Delta, because I'm from Atlanta. So.
Okay, great. You're from Atlanta, so Delta is your. So is the reason you're from a member of Delta's program simply because they're the airline of choice in Atlanta because they're the biggest, or do you really love them? And if you had a choice, you would still fly on Delta?
I love Delta. I will
There you
almost
go.
exclusively fly on Delta.
A loyal customer. I'll say, take away the perks, and let's make it generic. Let's say it doesn't matter if you're in Atlanta. Think of all airlines. They all have their frequent flyer programs. They give you points, which gets you, or miles, which gets you the ability to get free trips. They may give you a free upgrade to the first class seat. If they were to take away all of those perks, what airline do you think the majority of people would shift doing business with? Take a guess.
If they were to take away all of the perks.
Yeah, there are no perks. All airlines had no more perks. It was just who's the top rated customer service airline.
Customer service.
I'll give
Probably
you a hint.
like Southwest.
Yeah. I didn't even have to give you the hint. So here's the thing. Delta, by the way, as far as the type of carrier they are, I love Delta. They are really great at what they do. Southwest is a different type of airline. You don't get your assigned seat. It's, I think they're not really, I don't think as budget as they used to be, but the fact that they don't charge you for bags and things like that makes it more economical. They have something called fair transparency. They call it fair, oh gosh, what's it called? I can't remember, but it's like they let you know everything that's going to cost, so you don't get surprised. Anyway, the point is their people are great and they're known for being great. And that's why people would fly. If you take away all the airlines, almost every person I say, ask that question will say Southwest Airlines. And it's simply this: friendly people, good service, and they do what they're supposed to do. They get you from point A to B safely, just like the other airlines do as well. So what I want you to think about, repeat business is gold. We want repeat business. Loyalty programs like points and frequent flyer miles and that type of thing. If you go to a restaurant, get a punch card, and on the 6th punch, your meal's free. Those are marketing programs, not loyalty programs. People are coming to you because of perks. If they took away the perks, would they still come? That's how you know you have customer loyalty.
Yeah, no, that's great. And I also should qualify and say I've never flown on Southwest, so I can't speak to that experience. But
it's reputation, right?
Yeah, you've given me reason to consider it. So you mentioned like customer relationship and relationship with the employees. Is there one thing, can you isolate like one thing that team members can do to build the relationship between themselves and customers?
Wow, just one thing. There's so many ideas in this book. I'm going to go with a foundational concept. Well, gosh, where do we start? I mean, the one thing is, let's start with one of the chapters is about the shortest speech I ever gave. It was 2 words long. That's not all I had time for. And it was be nice. Okay. Because that's somewhat foundational to everything, isn't it? Be nice. So I've written a number of books on how to be nice, thousands of pages on how to be nice. There's a lot to it, but foundationally and fundamentally, we know what that means. So we could have a great product, but if we don't deliver it in a way that makes the customer happy from the standpoint of the experience they have, they're going to find another company that has a similar product or exactly the same product, right? By the way, flip it around. We could be the nicest people in the world, but if our product doesn't do what it's supposed to do, the customer's still going to leave us. So, foundationally, when it comes to service and experience, let's start with the fundamental: be nice. Now, from there, I'd say be amazing. And how do you be amazing? That's another chapter in the book. And again, I believe this is a foundational concept. It's simply creating consistent and predictable above average experiences, even if they're the tiniest bit above average. Because what you want your customers to say is, I love doing business with them. They're always so knowledgeable. They always get back to me quickly. They always are friendly and helpful. The word always followed by something positive. And those 3 ideas I just shared with you, they're always friendly, knowledgeable, helpful, etc. Those are pretty basic. That's not over the top. If you can deliver on those just a little better than average consistently, where the customer is saying always followed by something nice, you're on your way to being amazing.
Yeah, no, it's so true. I can just think of so many examples where it's just something so small that really makes the difference in terms of defining something as amazing, for sure. That consistency really matters too. So in your book, you expand upon Jan Carlson's concept of moments of truth, and I'll read the definition that you give from him. Anytime the customer comes into contact with any aspect of a business, however remote, and has an opportunity to form an impression. Now, you expand on that concept and identify 3 directions sort of that this moment of truth can take: a moment of misery, a moment of mediocrity, and a moment of magic. Thinking more about the worst ends, because obviously the moments of magic are great. Do you think a moment of mediocrity is in any way more destructive to a customer relationship than a moment of misery, or is a moment of misery really just like the worst?
Well, here's what happens in a moment of misery. Let's assume that a customer calls you because they have a complaint. I love that. Don't be afraid of handling complaints. Don't be afraid of handling angry customers. These moments of misery are wonderful because they're your opportunities to turn it around and say, I'm really glad you called. I'm glad I'm able to resolve the issue. And I hope I did it in such a way that makes you say, you know what? I have confidence that even when there's a problem, I know I can always count on them. There's that word always again. But let's talk about that moment of mediocrity. That is average. So when Jan Carlson came up with this idea, he said it can be good and it can be bad. He didn't talk about it can be just okay. Let me tell you the problem with just okay. You really don't know what the customer's thinking because they don't complain if they have a problem, because it's really not a problem. It was just okay. And you don't hear about it if they're ecstatically happy either, because again, satisfactory. Satisfactory is a rating. Just okay is like saying everything's fine. What is fine? Fine is a 4-letter word that starts with F. In the world of customer service, fine is the F-bomb of customer service and experience. And if it were an acronym, F would stand for a fake smile. If you're able to see the person, how is everything? It's fine. It's not really fine, which is I, insincere feedback. N is never want to do business with you again. And E is it's emotionless. I might be smiling and saying it's fine, but on the inside, you're pretty much dead to me.
Yeah.
So, and I know that's an exaggeration, but here's the point. Average or satisfactory, you really don't know where the customer's thinking. We talk about the NPS score in the book, Net Promoter Score. This is one of my favorite ratings that a company can get because it measures the likelihood that you enjoyed the experience enough to want to recommend the company to a friend, a family member, a colleague at work. And the actual question, the NPS question, Net Promoter Score question, is on a scale of 0 to 10, what's the likelihood that you'd recommend us? A 9 or a 10 is a promoter, hence the net promoter. A 7 or an 8 is considered passive. And then anything less than that, 6 or lower, is considered a detractor. Now, when you get a detractor, sometimes people are vocal about it. There's lots of stats out there that'll say, though, many of your customers who have complaints don't complain to you. They just tell all their friends about it, right? So we want to find out about those detractors. But the passives, you don't know whether they're leaning toward, you know what, I'm going to just try them again to make sure I like them. That would bump them into a promoter level. Or you don't know if they're thinking, it was okay. I'll try them again. But if it's like this, it's nothing special. If somebody better comes along, I'm going to go do business with them. You really need to understand who those middle, passives are, the average, satisfactory, or mediocrity level of customer, the rating is who they are. Otherwise, it's a very dangerous place. I actually refer to those customers as dangerous customers, because they leave and they never tell you. And you thought, well, they never complained. Well, now you know why, because you were just okay at best.
Yeah, no, that's really interesting. And I had to laugh earlier when you were talking about the fine, because sometimes my husband will say, like, you look fine when I ask him. And when he says that, it's like it is way worse than being told, like maybe you should change or something, because it's like, it is so, what do I even do with that comment? And he's like, well, it's good. It means good. I'm like, no, it doesn't. Fine does not mean good.
You need to put an adjective in front of it, like, you look mighty fine.
Yes.
Then it's okay. How's the haircut? Mighty fine looking haircut. Then you're okay with it. But how's the haircut? Yeah, it's fine. What does that mean?
I know. It's so true. It's so true. Okay, so you, as we mentioned earlier, you task customer service professionals with delivering an amazing experience. But as you mentioned, you put that within reach of every individual. Amazing is not some superlative that people can't reach to. It's something that they can deliver on a consistent basis, defining it as a predictable and consistent above average experience received by the customer. And you mentioned in the book that key to this is creating an I'll be back working culture. How, not just working culture, but culture overall. So how would you define that culture? Why does it matter so much?
Well, culture is, they say, Peter Drucker said, culture eats strategy for lunch. I mean, culture's so big. And if there's anybody that's not in alignment with the culture, they potentially disrupt the way customers think about you. You can have, let's just say, 100 employees and your customers interact with all of these people. But if one of your people isn't good, if they don't buy into the culture, if they weren't properly hired and vetted for their job, when I do business with that one person, it reflects upon all other 99 people. Hence, I think that's what the company's about. Now, relating to culture, it starts at the top. And if you want to have that I'll be back mentality, we need to be thinking of what does it take to get our customers to love us. We talk about amazement, that above average predictable experience. Well, that's a good start. So what we need to do is create the culture, define what it is, make it real clear, and then create non-negotiable standards that drive this. And it could be, if you look at somebody in the hospitality business, maybe every time they walk by you, you smile and say, good morning, good afternoon. You just have some minor interaction. That could be considered a non-negotiable standard. A company that has calls coming in and their salespeople are out in the field, they may have a non-negotiable standard as you return that call within 4 business hours, period, the end. So if somebody calls you at 2 minutes to 5 o'clock end of the day, it's okay to call them tomorrow morning. It's not okay to call them tomorrow afternoon or even the next day. So those are your standards that are going to drive that I'll be back mentality and that culture. So leadership defines it. This is what we want. And then you create the standards to go along with it. Many of these ideas are in the book, and some of them are just common sense that unfortunately aren't always so common.
That's so true. That's really true. So one of the strategies you mentioned that's really important to customers, especially customers like myself, older millennials, is trying to strike a balance between automation and personalization. Like customers like me, we want to be able to do as much as we can on our own, but when we want to speak with somebody, we want to be able to speak with somebody. So what is your advice for helping organizations strike a balance between automation and personalization?
Well, you can't automate a relationship. You can to some level. I mean, look at what Amazon's done. They built an extraordinary machine that really has created confidence with their customers. But let's talk about your favorite airline, Delta Airlines. What they did, they were the pioneers of the online reservations and online check-in. And I remember a friend of mine said to me, I just had the greatest experience on Delta Airlines. I got all the way to the gate and didn't have to talk to any of the employees. and I said, is that do you not like their employees? He goes, oh, no. I love their employees. They're great employees. But they created this system that allows me to go online and make a reservation. And then I could get my boarding pass. This is back in the day when you actually printed the boarding pass out at home and took it with you. And then I would just go straight to the gate until I find, but he knew that if there was ever a problem, he could pick up the phone or he could go over to an agent that was at the airport. And that's the key. If you're going to create some type of automation or digital experience, there needs to be an easy channel to get to a human being when necessary. Even if you go to a store that has self-service checkout because you have just a few items, the other cashiers, it's a long wait, you go to the self-service. But if you're in a grocery store and you're going, how do I scan the orange to get the price or this pineapple? There's always somebody there to help you out and take care of you. And that's the key. You have to have that clean, seamless, easy way to get to a human being. When you do that, the digital experience is great, only enhanced by the human when necessary. And you build a relationship of confidence and trust that way.
Yeah, I mean, that's great advice. I just think of like the little bubble that appears on websites that's like, get it, like, chat with John or, this person. And the problem with me is I'm always doing this at night. And so there's nobody there, but yet that icon like still appears.
Where is John? John's sleeping right now.
John's here. I'm ready to talk. Yeah.
So yeah, by the way, to that point, John may be an artificial intelligence fueled chatbot.
Yeah.
And when John, the chatbot, if you have a good chatbot, it will recognize this customer is asking me questions that apparently I can't answer. It knows that because it's been trained to recognize words of frustration. At that point, if there's really nobody there, John, the artificial intelligent chatbot, should say, I'm having trouble answering your question. Please give me your name and phone number, your email address, and I promise you one of our agents will call you first thing in the morning. We're open from 8 to 9, whatever Eastern time or whatever it is. And that at least is better than getting out there in limbo wondering what's happening.
Yeah, no, that's really great. That's really great advice. I hadn't even thought about it like that, but offering that option would make it so much better. So that's really helpful. All right, as we wrap up, I'm going to throw you a curveball here.
Uh-oh. I hope I have the answer.
What is your favorite lesson from Arnold Schwarzenegger that's pertinent to customer service?
Oh, gosh. So let me tell you, in the beginning, I have this chapter called the Arnie. Let me make sure I give you the right. I should know this. The basics of customer loyalty is in the first part. The Arnie, and basically, this guy has so many great quotes. Now, "I'll be back" was in the Terminator, and the first Terminator, "I'll be back" was not a friendly "I'll be back." It's "I'll be back. I'm going to blow up the police station." Right? The second Terminator was where he was a good guy, and "I'll be back" meant I'll be back and help you out. But here's a great line. What's the point of being on this earth if you're going to be like everyone else? And I think so many companies, the reason they struggle is they're just like everyone else. The service they provide is fine. Okay. We need to take everything to another level. Our attitudes about interacting with customers, the processes behind what our customers experience. And even if you can do it with unique products, well, maybe you sell what everybody else sells, but do you sell it the same way that everybody else sells? Can you add something to it? So I love that quote, as there are many quotes, and I could go on and on. I mean, in that first chapter, there's a number of quotes, but anyway, you're great curveball. Glad I have the book in front of me.
It is funny, though, how relevant, a number of the quotes are that you give to customer service. So it's a really fun, and I really enjoyed the play on words with Terminator, how you can terminate your competition, but you also don't want customers to terminate you, right? So there's a fun.
And not only that, you might want to terminate your customer for the right reasons. There's a chapter in the book that has 10 reasons a customer would terminate their relationship with you. And there's 3 reasons that you would want to terminate your relationship with a customer. And of course, you want to terminate the competition, goal being, let's disrupt the competitor. So you don't have to be a disruptor of an entire industry. Just disrupt the direct competitor to get business. And you know what? Oftentimes, it's going to be that experience, which is service and convenience and the way the customer feels about the experience they have with you, not just the product they're buying from you.
That's really great. It's a great place to end. And I will say, you can now pre-order the book at www.illbebackbook.com. So make sure to get your copy. Shep, are you still running that promotion where you get a free
here's what happens. If you buy the book, go to illbebackbook.com. That's great. And what will happen is you'll immediately get the ebook, right? So we won't charge you for the ebook, but you immediately get it. And when the book finally comes out, you will be sent the hardback book. If it's an international shipping, we'll find out what the extra shipping will be. If you would rather order it from Amazon, and that's totally fine, just go to my website, which is listed right there, hyken.com, and just say, hey, I ordered it. You don't have to copy and paste the whole order, and just say, I ordered it, and here's my order number, a copy of something. Just put it in the email. It's fine, and I'll make sure that you get a copy of that ebook. And that's the promotion that Sound Wisdom, which, by the way, of all the publishers I've ever worked with, you're the only one that has allowed us to say, if you buy the book early, you get the ebook at no charge. Now, I know we're going to have special ebook promotions once in a while, maybe even when the book comes out. But I think normally that ebook is what, $10.95 or $12.95 or.
That sounds right. Yeah, in that area.
So
So
you get the
great
book.
deal.
Yeah, you get the book when it comes out, and that's the hardbound book. But in the meantime, you don't have to wait for your customers to start saying, I'll be back.
All right. Well, thank you so much for being with us, Shep. It was really great to have you on the show.
My pleasure. Can't wait to do it again.
Sounds good.